This episode is brought to you by FX's The Veil, starring Elizabeth Moss. FX's The Veil is an international spy thriller that follows two women as they play a deadly game of truth and lies on the road from Istanbul to Paris and London. One woman has a secret, and the other has a mission to reveal it before thousands of lives are lost. FX's The Veil, now streaming, only on Hulu.
What's up, everybody? This is Brian here to tell you about our podcast, Bingetown TV. Our hosts include 7 best friends with a love for all things television. We cover a range of genres with a focus on fantasy and sci-fi, but also dip our feet into drama, horror, comedy, and pretty much anything we think is good television. We use the traditional deep dive formula for new live shows that are released week to week, but our calling card is our Rooks and Vets and Pitchtown TV series. Rooks and Vets pairs 2 of our hosts that have seen a show with 2 of our hosts that have not seen a show. Pitchtown TV is when we have a special guest pitch us a show by having us watch the pilot and trying to convince us to watch the rest. If you're craving more content on some of your favorite TV shows, then you should listen to Bingetown TV. Find us on our website at bingetowntv.com, the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or wherever else you may find your podcast.
Harvey the Wonder Hamster. He doesn't bite and he doesn't squeal. He just runs around on his hamster wheel. Harvey the Wonder Hamster. Hey, Harvey!
Matt, we are back, and similarly to when we talked about George of the Jungle, this is going to be an interesting one. We don't have MC Lars here to help us out like with Let Me Be Your Hog.
We're on our own.
I believe this is the second shortest song in Al's recording history. I think it just is. So let's talk about it. We're talking about Harvey the Wonder Hamster. From the Wikipedia, it says a short tune from one of his Al TV appearances. He recorded after receiving numerous requests that he include the song on an album. And listening to it, I mean, we've talked about this a couple times on Al TVs. You probably, if you're listening to a show called Weird Algorithm, you probably know all the words to Harvey the Wonder Hamster. But just in case you don't, Harvey the Wonder Hamster. He doesn't bite. He doesn't squeal. Just runs around on the hamster wheel. Harvey the Wonder Hamster. Hey, Harvey.
Hey, Harvey.
And what I love about this song is that it kind of works as a TV show jingle, but he's doing this TV show jingle set lyrically mixed with like this sports arena marching band sound that I think the most comparable thing is decades later when he does Sports Song. Like it's the most stylistic comparison that we have to this. And
yeah, it's like a John Philip Sousa march.
Yeah, and you know
that
what?
He's written here.
Weird spoiler alert. I think I prefer this over Sports Song. Like, I think it's kind of that saying like, don't bore us, get to the chorus. Like, it gets in, it does its thing, and it gets the hell out real fast.
I will say, when I was learning how to play all these songs, I really generally learned them chronologically as well. There were some I already knew, kind of course. And when I got to this, it was so... Considering how short it was, I was stunned at how much it twisted me up. Because it just moves in ways that you don't expect. Like, this type of music is just not written the same as, like a pop tune or a rock tune or anything like that. Like, the chords, it all just feels different.
Can you give an example? Because if I'm thinking of this from a bass perspective, I'm assuming it's just a bum, 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 bum.
Yes. So I'm basically, the bass is, to be honest, I don't know if there's actually a traditional bass guitar on this recording. I'm essentially playing a tuba part. Side note, great segue. While I look up, because I have all the sheet music that I played this stuff to, so I'm looking that up now. But while I do that, worth noting that on this album, and they've come up before and we have not talked about it, but Al had a horn section for a lot of these songs. This one included, but also last week's She Never Told Me She Was a Mime and Talk Soup, prominent horn brass parts. In that brass section, the tuba player, once again, is Tommy Johnson, who played the tuba solo in Smells Like Nirvana and I mentioned famously played the tuba part in the score to Jaws for John Williams. That guy. It makes me so happy when we have these references to like these other people who Al like crosses paths with, and they just keep working with him, because it just makes me think like Al is as good as we want him to be. He's as wonderful. Like this guy, this like, has played in like world-class orchestras.
We have to stress something here, because just saying he played tuba on Jaws is an understatement of that.
Sure.
When you hear the song Jaws, right?
Oh, yeah, he's doing, go ahead. Yeah.
So when you hear the song Jaws, obviously you think of the song Jaws and you think of the da-dun, 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 dun, 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 dun. But there is a part that is supposed to reference specifically the shark. He is the tuba player that plays the high registered part of that, which is the like, ba-da-da-da, like that.
Yeah.
Like that very eerie extra piece to the build.
He's like the first chair tuba player. It's a very prominent part that he played on that piece.
And just looking at this is very funny to think about that this man played on a Weird Al album, because I'm looking at some of the other things where he tubaed, and this man was a tuba player on the soundtracks for films like Addams Family, Logan's Run, The Lion King, The Matrix trilogy. Just Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, not the other ones, which is very weird to me.
I like that.
The Back to the Future trilogy, Batman Returns, and Batman Forever, but not the first Batman movie.
Wow.
Beetlejuice, like Nightmare Before Christmas. A lot of Danny Elfman, a lot of John Williams. Planet of the Apes, I'm assuming that's the... I'm assuming that is the Tim Burton one. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which makes me wonder if he's part of that keyboard sequence that gets played. And then this is also very funny to me. He was the tuba player for the soundtracks of Police Academy 1 through 5, but not 6 and 7. And also Scream 2 and 3, but not Scream 1. So I do think it's crazy to look at this
I like to think
guy's
that
kit.
at least one of those he had to pass on because he was busy with Al.
Yeah.
Recording Harvey the Wonder Hamster.
Because, yeah, I guess when we think about that too, while he does have horn sections for Talk Soup and She Never Told Me She Was a Mime, I'm not imagining, and well, I guess maybe two things. I was going to say, I can't imagine that tuba was predominant on that, but maybe tuba for the polkas.
Maybe tuba for the polkas, yeah. There definitely would have been... She Never Told Me She Was a Mime, probably not a ton of tuba there, but maybe a little bit. I don't know. The brass section for the album was tuba, trumpet, and then someone who did like trombone and maybe a little bit of saxophone, I think. Warren Looning and Joel Peskin are the other two names worth saying specifically, because there's really good horn parts on this record. They're very well done.
There are, and I have to laugh. We've talked about this man before. I'm looking at the Wikipedia personnel for this album, and I see the credit Musical Mike Kiefer playing the instrument of the musical hands.
Those musical hands, yeah. He was doing the achy breaky song, the hand farts we were talking about. Yeah, it is officially him.
Yeah,
yes.
the manualist. I do love that it's listed as musical hands and that his name is Musical Mike.
Musical Mike with his hands. Anyway, so to the chart, it's funny actually. I didn't even write like proper chords for Harvey the Wonder Hamster when I did this, because I just put the notes down because it's so short. So it's not super helpful for me to be like, okay, it's B, F sharp, E, C sharp, A sharp, F sharp, B, F sharp, A sharp, F sharp, B, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. It's just, but it moves in this very like, the most I can say is that it does not have the motion of a traditional like pop or rock song. When you are holding it, like the way I work 99% of the time, in advance what a song is going to do, right? Like I'm like, okay, it's going to go from this chord to this chord to this chord. There's changes, but you can predict pretty well just by ear and by having learned tons of songs. Like songs of the similar genre follow similar rules always. Yeah. And this just doesn't. Like it doesn't move. It seems like it's walking fifths, but it's kind of not, and it's walking around in this surprising way. The tuba is not always hitting the bass note you'd expect it to. It's doing harmonies with the other horn parts and stuff. So it really twisted me up. And then that's a long way to say, like, as I was learning this, I was like, oh boy, this is taking me a really long time. And I just know that means that sports song is going to take me a really long time.
Yeah.
And it did. It did. It was really, really painful to learn. Didn't like it. Didn't like learning sports song. Barely likes learning this.
So did that make you like? Did your appreciation for the songs drop as opposed to rise from that experience?
I mean, we're gonna have to come back to that when we get to sports song in a very long time. I would say that this one in particular, no, in both cases, it impressed me because it makes you appreciate just how versatile a writer Al is.
Yeah.
Like that's not not many people I could think of who are based in like a pop rock world could be told like, oh, by the way, for this one, can you write us like a John Philip Sousa march? Like that's not a thing people know how to do. That's a totally different person who can do that.
So because this is going to be a shorter episode, I've had a question I've meant to ask you for probably a year now.
You say it's a shorter episode, but I have so many notes, Matt Kelly. So go ahead. Hit me with a question.
I feel like in one of our very first episodes, you mentioned that you professionally had played 2 Al songs in a band in your life, and that when we got to those songs, you would mention them. And we're now in the mid-90s, and I can't help but wonder, have we forgotten to mention them, or have we still not hit either one of those songs?
So there was one in particular
okay.
that I was thinking of. Did I say 2?
I thought you said 2, but maybe it was just 1.
I have not forgotten.
Okay.
And the one that I'm thinking of immediately, we have not gotten to yet.
Okay.
Was there another? I'm trying to think if there was another one.
Because I've said before that I did a one-time only Weird Al cover set for a charity show.
Yes.
Which, man, my vision of that set and what that set became was so disappointing. Because there's that old adage, you can't trust other people, basically. I had this vision of like, I'll have a backup band for some songs, I'll rap a few songs, and I'll like bust out the acoustic guitar and do like You Don't Love Me Anymore. Like I had this whole vision, and like the one dude who played guitar, like he learned Smells Like Nirvana for me, and he learned how to play Lump on the guitar for me. And I think there was like one other that I had him try to learn, but the drummer just didn't show up to the show.
Man.
Like everyone's supposed to show up early and just run through like the 2 or 3 songs before the show just to like make sure that we had it. And the drummer just no-showed the entire thing. So I just like scrapped anything that had, it was all about the Pentiums was the last one that I wanted the band for. But we scrapped all of them. And I just had, I had a feeling it might happen. So I had a plan B of just like anything that I could find an MP3 track of the instrumental I used. So I think I started with Fat, did Dare to Be Stupid was my closer. I did play a few songs on acoustic that I don't remember, but it's tough to do. Like even that 25-minute set gave me such an appreciation for what he does every single day with his band. It's insane.
It's tremendous. Yeah. I mean, you got me really thinking about if there was a second song now that I mean, because some of the, like I've done Beat It in like cover band settings, like some of the songs he's parodied I've done. I can't think of another,
but no,
there's just one coming up. But the short answer is I have not forgotten, still on my radar. That song was not Harvey the Wonder Hamster.
Damn it. That's what I was trying to get to. All right. Well,
unfortunately
I've already blew through all my notes on Harvey the Wonder Hamster. So let's dive into what apparently you have a novel. So like,
I have so much to talk about because if you go on to I love referencing on this show, the Ask Al series that he used to run on his website where people could just submit questions. Maybe the thing that people have asked about the most, period, is Harvey.
Okay.
So many people who want to talk about Harvey, and I just thought it would be fun to go through some of these, and including there's some really interesting information here that I did not know. So someone asks in particular, I don't actually know if we've gotten to this special yet. I was going to see if you could remember this, Matt. Someone asks, was Harvey the Wonder Hamster a small guinea pig on one of your specials, or was I just drunk?
Okay.
And Al notes, Harvey was in fact feeling a little under the weather one day, so his pal Bob the guinea pig was nice enough to fill in. I don't think we've seen that yet. Maybe that's still coming up for us. A lot of people asking if Harvey's okay after being slammed into walls or thrown off buildings and stuff. And Al points out, of course, He's like, I assume most people know Harvey is a professionally trained stunt hamster, so you don't have to worry about him.
I love, to use a wrestling term, I love how much Al keeps kayfabe with these answers. Because he could just as easily just be like, it wasn't a real hamster, you dummy.
Yes, exactly. This is an interesting one because I didn't know about this. And this goes back a little ways. This is in the past slightly. But from 1986, somebody asks him, what was it like working with the Ramones?
Okay.
And I saw that and I was like, whoa, what are we talking about? Al was in the music video for the Ramones song Something to Believe In, which came out in 1986. It's on the Animal Boy record.
Okay.
And in that video, Al is part of it's hilarious and funny. I still haven't seen this movie, but everyone's talking about it. The video that the Ramones made is a spoof of We Are the World.
Okay.
And in the video, all of these celebrities are singing along to the Ramones song with him in a We Are the World style ensemble. And Al is among that group.
That's amazing. Also
featured in that video are Sparks. Are also in that video. It was great to see. But anyway, Al in his answer just notes, I was in the video for Something to Believe In, but the Ramones weren't on the set the same time as me. So I don't really feel like I actually worked with them. But I've always been a fan and it was an honor to be included. Joey called me at home a while back just to tell me how much he enjoyed the Weird Al show. Apparently he is a huge fan of Harvey.
Aw, I love man.
So
I
Joey
love
Ramone, Joey Ramone, big fan of Harvey. That's apparently part of Al's connection to the room. Who knew? I had no idea that this is there. And of course, it's just a very small feature. Oh, also in the video, Al is talking. Al actually talks over the song at one point. And all the celebrities are introducing themselves and saying that they're there for this cause. The fake Ramones cause in their video is, instead of Hands Across America, they call it Hands Across Your Face. And it's just all these people gathering for this cause. And Al introduces himself and he goes like, hi, I'm Debbie Boone. And then just says something. I didn't remember what the line is after that. I just heard that and laughed.
This is the first of what will not be the last of Al doing a parody of We Are the World in some way, shape, or form.
Of course, Al wanted to be involved. I loved the fact that the Ramones did this spoof on like this sort of like the Hollywood version of a charity thing.
Right
after.
So we will almost, let me double check to make sure I have it on our list, because if I don't, I need to fix that. But we've talked about Al being a part of Comedy Bang Bang. Mm-hmm. But there was, before it was Comedy Bang Bang, it was Comedy Death Ray was the show.
Yes.
And Comedy Death Ray in 2010, I don't have it on here, so I'm adding it. In 2010, released a Christmas album, and it was at the exact same time that We Are the World 25 came out, which was like the 25 year anniversary where they were raising money for Haiti. And it's a truly awful remake of a song. Where like you get like a rap session between like Lil Wayne and LL Cool J and Kanye West in the middle of it. So Comedy Death Ray released We Are the World 25.75 for the 25.75 year anniversary of We Are the World. And that was to raise.
I've not seen that.
Oh my God. And Al does the Huey Lewis part of the song. So well, if you just believe, there's nowhere we can fall. And then it turns into, if you remember that part of the song, it's Huey Lewis says that. Cyndi Lauper comes in and does the well, if you realize that a change can only come. And then Kim Carnes comes in and says, and then there's a 3-part harmony of Stand Together as One. It's him with Chris Hardwick and Mike Furman of Hard and Firm.
Wow.
And the three of them do the harmony together. And it's awesome because Chris Hardwick has that great like 80s hair metal singing voice that matches the way Cyndi Lauper sings that part perfectly. But we'll definitely cover that.
We should cover that more properly because I have not. That sounds like I gotta see that.
It's so funny. We may have by the time this comes out, everyone's already seen. Chris and I did We Are the World for One Hit Thunder after watching that documentary because we're just like, we got to talk about this. Like,
so weird.
Technically, it is the only hit from USA for Africa. So.
That's true. I mean, like, we're waiting to hear more from them at this point. What are they up to?
Which I said this on the episode then. I'm going to say it here. I think Do They Know It's Christmas is a better novelty charity song. I just think it's a more
Without a doubt.
interestingly written song. I just think
Totally
that We Are
agree.
the World has the more impressive lineup. Like the lineup of We Are the World, it's like when you read those names, you're just like, and the names just keep coming.
Yeah.
As like huge
Yeah,
names,
yeah.
where Band-Aid is a lot more of these like kind of one-off flash in the pan 80s new wave groups from the
It
UK.
is, but I totally agree with you. That is a better song. That's
Yes.
like, if you again ignore the personnel and just listen to them as songs, and Do They Know It's Christmas is
Yeah,
way
that
better.
ba-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, it's so good. Anyway,
It functions as a Christmas song. You still hear it. It still gets played as a
well,
Christmas
that's what
song.
the
It
joke
works.
was that I said when we recorded that episode was we were saying how we never hear you're never in a
No.
grocery store and you hear them playing We Are the World.
Who
over the
would
loudspeaker.
dare
Yeah.
do that?
But
Who would play that?
But it's crazy to think about because it's still, I believe, if not the number one amongst the top 10 best-selling singles in the history of music. And
Yeah.
you just don't hear it at all. But Do They
No.
Know It's Christmas from like November to December? You hear that shit everywhere.
Plays constantly. Yeah, the power of a Christmas song. You don't count out a Christmas song. It's always good.
We'll be hearing Christmas Dirtbag every year for the rest of
Oh,
our
boy.
lives.
Oh, geez. Sorry, guys.
All right, so back to
Sincere
Harvey.
apologies. Back to Harvey. Just more great Harvey questions. Someone asked, is Harvey the Wonder Hamster related to the radioactive hamster from a planet near Mars?
Good question.
Very good question. And Al's here to give the official answer, which is that they are second cousins twice removed.
The worst.
There you have it. This is good. This is another one I think we have not seen yet, referencing an Al TV. Of course, a lot of this references Al TV. Someone asked, has Harvey ever bitten you? And Al says, several years ago, I was hosting Friday night videos with my friend Emo Phillips. The producers supplied me with a Harvey, quote unquote Harvey, that was right from the pet shop and had not had much human interaction. The nervous hamster took multiple chunks out of my hand during the first couple takes of the show opening, and I finally had to put on heavy gloves just to hold him.
Jesus.
So that's something else we haven't seen
And
yet.
those
We got to keep
bites are
it.
no fucking joke. I'm not sure if you ever had
Oh,
a
boy.
guinea pig or a hamster, but
I grew up having pet hamsters, yeah.
dude, those bites hurt.
Tragically, I didn't have a pet hamster at the time. Well, I had hamsters before I knew Al.
Yeah. Oh, otherwise,
Because
you would have
otherwise I
actually
would have had a Harvey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But I didn't.
I think my days of having a pet are mostly gone.
Mm.
At least until, if a significant other's living with me, that might change
Sure.
my decision making. But I enjoy the quiet of my home and being able to
Right.
leave whenever I want.
And also, I mean, like, what adult has a pet hamster?
Well, I mean a pet anything like dogs, cats,
but
whatever.
I'm just
truly.
thinking now out loud. Like if I met a grown ass adult who had a pet hamster, that's like I don't know. I don't want to be casting too many aspersions here, but that's a little alarming.
So
Thoughts?
my thought is this. Now, I love the movie Garden State. I think
Yes.
the one exception would be if they had a pet hamster in the style of Garden State where the entire house functions as a giant tube system for this hamster to roam. If they're like crazy enough to literally rebuild their house to be like a fun house for this hamster to roam around in, then I say have at it.
That's a great exception to the rule. I
Yeah.
will allow that. If you are that quirky that you live, that it's like it's more like you're living in a hamster's home.
like I think
That is oddly more acceptable to me. But if I see a guy like early 40s dude who lives alone, just him and a hamster,
just a little crate with a single hamster in it, nothing else.
I don't know, guys.
That's a lonely life.
That might be a deal breaker.
Did I tell you about the one thing I considered doing? This is so dumb, but since we're on the topic of pets, at one point I was thinking about getting a fish tank. I was like, maybe I'll have a fish tank. Like, it's something. It's something. But then I was like, man, taking care of a fish tank sucks. Like, it's a nightmare. And what I realized was the only reason I wanted a fish tank was I like all the kitschy shit that you put in a fish tank. So then I started to have this desire to buy a fish tank and fill it with water and things, but no fish.
but no fish. See, that's a good bit. I like that a lot too.
What's up, everybody? This is Brian here to tell you about our podcast, Bingetown TV. Our hosts include 7 best friends with a love for all things television. We cover a range of genres with a focus on fantasy and sci-fi, but also dip our feet into drama, horror, comedy, and pretty much anything we think is good television. We use the traditional deep dive formula for new live shows that are released week to week, but our calling card is our Rooks and Vets and Pitchtown TV series. Rooks and Vets pairs 2 of our hosts that have seen a show with 2 of our hosts that have not seen a show. Pitchtown TV is when we have a special guest pitch us a show by having us watch the pilot and trying to convince us to watch the rest. If you're craving more content on some of your favorite TV shows, then you should listen to Bingetown TV. Find us on our website at bingetowntv.com, the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or wherever else you may find your podcast.
In the darkest corners of the internet, a nameless, formless entity has been growing. No one dares question where it was created or what it wants, but those who have been entranced by its musings chant its blood-curdling name in unison. Horror Movie Night!
Find Horror Movie Night on your favorite podcasting app or at hmnpodcast.com.
Any other good Harvey facts from the Ask Al forums?
Well, I have, so the Ask Al, there's 1 or 2 more, but I'm actually going to save those because they're going to apply to more specific Al TVs later on that I think will be better to hang on to. From the, this song made it into the permanent record best of collection, and he had all the liner notes for that. And just a quick thing that Al wrote specifically about this. He just says, Harvey the Wonder Hamster was written for one of MTV's Al TV specials. It was a silly little song that I'd sing to Harvey before I threw him out the window or pulverized him with a mallet. I like to put a really short song on an album every now and then, and I got a lot of requests to include this. I still think it's not confirmed, but it really sounds to me like I went back and rewatched the very first Al TV that this song appears in.
It sounds like he's making it up on the fly.
It sounds like he is making it up on the fly. I don't actually know. I have no idea if it was something that was pre-planned but it really feels like an improvised little bit that he did that, I mean, he is just so good at what he does that he pulled this thing out of nowhere and it works. Like
it's
taking
like a
this
beloved
existing
song. Like it's,
you know what? Let's put it this way. When Al composed, quote unquote, the a cappella version of Harvey the Wonder Hamster as it was performed on Al TV for years before he actually recorded this, there's no world that he envisioned this John Philip Sousa march happening behind it. Like that was composed after the fact underneath a melody that he wrote on the fly. You know what I mean? Like that must have just come later and he decided the funniest thing I can do with this dumb throwaway song is to make it as grandiose as I possibly can.
But also like it makes sense because how often when you're like making up a theme song for somebody on the fly, does it not kind of just automatically fall into an almost marching rhythm?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's like the most natural rhythm. If you're like singing an intro song for somebody, you're almost, because it's that Mickey Mouse Club idea, right? Like
exactly.
Who's a leader on the dun da dun da dun da dun. Like it really makes sense. So here's a thought that just came into my mind as you were reading about the things that Al does to Harvey the Wonder Hamster.
He does a lot.
And there's someone who I don't think we're ever officially going to talk about on this podcast, so why not on this episode? Harvey Wonder Hamster, I think, is very inspired by someone else that I'm positive Al loves with absolutely no evidence, Super Dave. I think that he is doing Super Dave with this hamster. Like
Super Dave Osborne. I totally agree. I think that's a great, God, another, man, the things that we can try to show people on this show, I hope, if you're listening to this, check out Super Dave. Where can people watch that nowadays? A lot of that must even be just on YouTube.
So the best way, honestly, this is like, I was aware of Super Dave, but there's literally a Bob, I think it's on Max right now, called the Bob Einstein Movie.
Yeah.
And it
for people who don't know Super Dave, you would definitely recognize Bob Einstein, who is a comedic actor. He was on Curb Your Enthusiasm a whole bunch for like a long time there.
Has a really raspy voice like this. Like
he's very tall. Like yes.
Curb Your Enthusiasm and Arrested Development are his two like biggest parts. But he's the older brother of Albert Brooks, which is insane. Right. And there's this beautiful documentary about him as Super Dave and his life and his death, and it's very sad, but it's also very, very, very funny, and it is filled with Super Dave clips that just the best way to describe what Super Dave was is it was a parody of Evel Knievel. All of the stunts went horribly wrong, but the bit, and the reason why I say Harvey feels perfectly in line with this, was half the joke was how fake the dummy is when it switches from Bob Einstein to the dummy that's about to be pulverized. Is like, it's like literally as much of a straw man as they could possibly get away with. And
I've actually seen recently, it's been getting shared on like just dumb like Instagram, TikTok channels, a video clip from Super Dave of him, like he's going to do a dunk of a basketball, but he's on like a catapult, and the catapult is supposed to hoist him in the air just enough that he can dunk this basketball into the hoop. And of course, the catapult doesn't stop when it's supposed to, and he just winds up flying all the way through the backboard, and the whole thing like just gets crushed. And again, it's very obviously fake, but that's been, if you are, maybe you've seen that, maybe that's the reference point for some people for Super Dave. Yeah.
And it was usually, like you're saying, he'd go to do a stunt, and then it would be like a quick like, oh no! Like it's just like,
as he's going up, he's like, okay, cool, the catapult's gonna stop. No, it's not, and then he just
oh Jesus God! There's this line where like regular slapstick comedy isn't that funny to me, but when it's pushed to such outrageous lengths like a Super Dave, it is the funniest shit I could possibly imagine.
The Super Dave Osborne show is great, highly recommended. That's a good reference. I can totally see that. Yeah.
All right. Well, do we have anything else before we try to rank this little wonderful rodent in our original Al songs list?
I found apparently somebody online did a parody of this song.
Okay.
And the parody was called Pluggy the Super Plunger. And tragically, I don't think the audio exists anymore. I could not find it anywhere. And I wasn't sure I was even going to mention this because if you look on Al's forums, which is where I found this, and also if you just Google it, they were posting about these, like, I guess there was a website for a little while there where people were doing song parodies. And the general consensus among Al fans was that this was unforgivably terrible. I don't have the audio to back it up, but I do have the words.
All right.
So the parody version of this is, and I don't have the name of the person who did it, which is probably for the best. But the parody version goes, Pluggy, Pluggy, Pluggy the Super Plunger. He doesn't talk and he doesn't walk. He just unclogs toilets and is held by a plumber.
So not even a rhyme. Couldn't even find a rhyme. Oh boy.
Pluggy, Pluggy, Pluggy the Super Plunger. Go Pluggy.
You know, Matt, there is something else that we need to talk about, because I want to move away from Pluggy as quickly as possible. Because
I just want to acknowledge for a moment that what Al does maybe is not as easy as it seems sometimes.
Oh boy,
I think there's more to it than people realize, and a lot of people think that they can come up with a clever parody song and maybe leave it to the professionals.
Yeah. Did you have the internet in the late 90s? Because if so, you are well aware that not everybody can do what Al does successfully.
There's a reason why there is a whole section of Al's website dedicated to laying out, these are the parodies Al has done.
Yeah.
If you've heard a bad parody and it's not on this list, it's someone else.
Yeah.
Because he got misattributed so many terrible things.
Now, that being said, if you've heard Toothless People, that one's on Al.
Al did make Toothless People. That's an Al original. Or parody.
So, Matt, I've got one last question before we rank this, because it's important to the rankings. Do lyric videos count as music videos?
Thank you. So, another fun little fact. This song was performed live for the first time ever on the Vanity Tour. Sorry, not the Vanity Tour. The Strings Attached Tour in 2019. Al performed it with the full orchestra behind him. There's videos of him doing it online. It's very cute, where he says that, never did this song live because I knew that it needed to be done properly. It needed a 41-piece orchestra. So he waited decades in order to be able to pull that off. It's also really sweet because Jim West and Steve J put their instruments down, and the three of them just stand at the front of the stage, all of them singing together and marching in place. Like it's a classic Sousa march. It's great.
Also, that's not fully true. It could be argued that it's been performed live on every Al TV. That's
true. That's true. Al, never the full band version, I guess. Yes, just Al's solo acoustic version or a cappella again. Yeah. And anyway, to go along with that, they made a music video for it. The video was done by Jarrett Heather, who is the same person who made the video for Word Crimes.
Okay.
And the reason why I mentioned that specifically is because as short as this video is not that different from the video for Word Crimes.
No, it's not. And that's where I find...
I think we have to do it. I think we have to do it.
Okay.
To say that this is an official Weird Al video, I guess is borderline, but it is a video. It's a lyric video, animated, chronicling this song in its entirety. I don't know. I'm not going to rank it particularly high.
No, I think the line has to be that we are only, and I mean only, doing officially sanctioned Al lyric videos.
This video is posted to the official Weird Al YouTube page.
Yes, that's why I'm saying we're doing it, and that's why we'll do Word Crimes. But,
yeah, exactly. Because once we get to that point, so many of those videos are animated. Al's not in a bunch of them. You know, they're just third-party outsourced videos. So if we're including those, which I think we should, because again, they were officially released. Yeah. We got to include this.
It's so funny that as the albums become less frequent, the amount of music videos that we have to rank somehow goes up. But
I know. Again, this is way in the future, but as the time went on and I feel like it was more about Al having access. This is a great example. This person who made this video for him, Jarrett Heather, that is entirely, it must be because Al, enough time passes and Al's influence goes up enough that now he just has a whole generation of young creative people who grew up worshiping him.
Yeah. Well, because
of course they're like, please let me, imagine being this guy. Is
and Mandatory Fun practically have a video for every single song.
For every song.
Yeah.
Because again, now even this guy is like, can I make a music video for Harvey the Wonder Hamster? We just last year got a music video for Your Horoscope for Today.
Yeah. Which is, I'm sorry, I'm looking at his release order, and it is kind of interesting to think about it because it's like you have, I think we got 2 videos for Running with Scissors. We got basically no videos for Poodle Hat because of Eminem. And I
Shout
think
out to Eminem.
And I think we only get 1 video from Straight Outta Linwood. And then we get the Alapalooza Mandatory Fun releases that are, or Alpocalypse and Mandatory Fun releases, which are, like we said, literally almost a video per song.
You have to believe that, of course, Al would want videos.
Yeah.
For these songs.
It helps highlight his song more.
It helps highlight the songs. It's just more opportunities for comedy.
Yeah.
Along with the song. And as soon as he got to a point in his career where a music video budget, he was not beholden to a record label or another company to give him an amount of money, to use to make a video. As soon as that was out of the equation, he is cranking out videos.
Yeah.
Because again, he can just outsource, like some of them he's in plenty of videos from that time period, but also he could be like, oh, someone wants to make a music video for Skipper Dan. Great. I'm going to animated team comes in and makes a video and it's great. Like that's just, I don't know. I think that it makes me sad that there's not more music videos, but hey, Harvey, Horoscope for Today, maybe we're going to get more as time goes on. Why would Al not say yes? I love it.
It's been 10 years since his last album. So if nothing else, if he's not going to give us new tunes, we should get some new videos.
If we have a listener out there who is a aspiring or professional music video director, like my vote is just reach out to Al's team and be like, hey, if no one's done it yet, I'd love to make a video for Nature Trail to Hell.
Yeah, like why not? Let's do it and put us in it.
Do it. And if it's good enough, he'll put it on his channel and then it becomes an official video. I mean, all it needs is his stamp of approval that way to how then is it different than anything else,
I agreed. But we're not talking about any of those videos yet. We're talking about the song Harvey the Wonder Hamster and the video for it and where we're going to rank it. And for me, I felt like I have to put this higher than Let Me Be Your Hog. I think this is a better short Al song than Let Me Be Your Hog. So that was my starting point.
Great.
I do love this song. I'm kind of shocked. Actually, yeah, I'll put it just above. I was not sure where I wanted to put it in relation to another song in this album, which is Talk Soup. But I think I'm going to put it just above Talk Soup, just below I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead. This is only because it is barely a song.
It is barely a song. It is barely a song.
I just couldn't with good conscience put it super high because it's hardly a song.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Let Me Be Your Hog is a song, then so is this.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm ranking it low. I'm ranking it lower than you. And I feel like that's only just by default because, again, it's like, how do you compare this to
anything else?
To so many other things. And I'm going to put it, it's funny you referenced Talk Soup as well. I'm actually going to put it, it's going to be in that kind of vicinity, but I'm going to put it, I'll put it just below Talk Soup and just above cable TV.
All right. Fair.
Not in my bottom 5, although it is real close. Again, it's totally fine. But also a part of me thinks, if I'm honest, that if I got a version of this CD and the song was missing, I might not even notice.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Although I do think it breaks up the end of the record very well, because it does, considering it's just original, like as we mentioned, the album, this is a really oddly paced record, and this is a nice little break, even though it's not a parody. It just helps things move. It keeps the forward motion going into the Waffle King.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm putting this at the bottom of my music video list because while it's barely a song, it's also barely a music video.
Yeah, that seems like the only appropriate thing to do now that we've established. It's certainly not better than Money for Nothing, which is both of our our bottom choices right now. No, again, I'm actually going to be, it'll be interesting to compare some of these animated videos that we have coming up, because there's going to be just, our music video list has been so infrequently touched that when we start getting into more of those, I'm going to be curious to see how some of those videos stack up. Ones that Al's not in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, you mentioned it already, so tune in next week when we have some breakfast foods and talk to the Waffle King.
The Waffle King, the man himself, he'll be here. Special guest.
What's up, everybody? This is Brian here to tell you about our podcast, Bingetown TV. Our hosts include 7 best friends with a love for all things television. We cover a range of genres with a focus on fantasy and sci-fi, but also dip our feet into drama, horror, comedy, and pretty much anything we think is good television. We use the traditional deep dive formula for new live shows that are released week to week, but our calling card is our Rooks and Vets and Pitchtown TV series. Rooks and Vets pairs 2 of our hosts that have seen a show with 2 of our hosts that have not seen a show. Pitchtown TV is when we have a special guest pitch us a show by having us watch the pilot and trying to convince us to watch the rest. If you're craving more content on some of your favorite TV shows, then you should listen to Bingetown TV. Find us on our website at bingetowntv.com, the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or wherever else you may find your podcast.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.